You roll the riddle around in your mind. A gang of little imps comes flitting out of its hole, noisy but unseen, and difficult to control. In every kind of rhythm, they flutter and squeeze and poke. They possess most any victim, and even sometimes choke. It seems to be related to something produced vocally, like a voice, or coughing, or singing, or maybe laughter. The mouth is a hole. The gang of little imps seems to be a metaphor, as riddles sometimes favor. Sound can be noisy, and it is unseen. Difficult to control does not seem at all like singing or speaking, as those are all about controlling the breath, the words, and so forth. Coughing or laughter, then, in every kind of rhythm. Coughing can sometimes have a bit of rhythm, but it's not a great fit. Laughter, though, is very rhythmic. Ha ha ha, he, and so on. Laughter also can have the qualities like fluttering, squeezing, and poking, and it does seem to possess you, as it's mostly out of your control when you laugh. And if you laugh too hard, you can get choked up or out of breath. This also fits with what the painting of Myra had said in the gallery. When Zdravno was a child, he was the most playful and mischievous boy. As a man, he always said how he wanted to build a tower where the children could look at the stars and play happily for hours and hours. With confidence, you speak the password, laughter, and with a thin popping noise, the invisible barrier of force yields, allowing you entrance into the room here in the observatory tower. Yet another fantastic chamber this is, another place that you would love to spend hours and hours if only circumstances were different. You glance over the globe, the astronomy scope, the greatsword leaning against the wall, the writing desk. What's this here? Among the various papers is a leather-bound journal. You pick it up and have a look. This is Zdravno's own writing. After flipping through a number of entries, you come upon some startling information. Maximus has made his offer a second time, and it is even more appealing now. My only real misgiving is the short amount of time he is allowing me to make my decision. Well, with the wealth and mystical power that he would grant, I could accomplish a great many things which have been but wishes and dreams. I could renovate the castle like Father wanted. I could build the observatory tower and show the girls the stars. I could fund many of my projects that would otherwise fade into obscurity. I could finally create the constructs I have been researching for decades now. I have taken the bargain. My glee is matched only by my apprehension. However, I did make sure to be very careful when signing the deal. In exchange for the grand sum of power and wealth, Maximus bade me obtain 2 items for him, the Helm of Cernubag and the Sword of Blue Flame. The consequences of failure are dire. But being a scholar, I am aware of both of these items, and I expect the plan to run smoothly. Cernubag was a mighty and terrible warlord who led many campaigns of conquest. His magic helm he fashioned from an exotic dark steel, and he set a beautiful sapphire into its brow. It granted him magical protection and a keen edge to his aggressive battle tactics. The Sword of Blue Flame is a somewhat older item, once wielded by a warrior from Neperna, the frozen north. It is also studded with a sapphire. It is said to ignite with an azure fire that burns with freezing cold instead of heat. In fact, I have already made contact with the person who possesses this weapon and arranged for its purchase. I have been studying the Sword of Blue Flame, which I procured just yesterday. I am surprised by the fact that the magic infused into it is rather basic. My apprentice should be able to create such an item here in just a year or two. Does Malekithis desire it for some sort of historical significance? I will have to do more research. As for now, I am ready to begin the initial phase of creating the Sentinel construct to watch over the Great Hall. Things are going splendidly. My castle is coming to life. The rooms are cleaner than ever, furnishings and art are coming in at a steady pace. How wonderful it feels to have servants here again. The only thing that ails me is the health of the twins. Their mother and I are getting very worried. I have paid the best healer in Casavecchia to come treat them. My funds are starting to run down somewhat, but I will turn a profit soon enough. And I still have a great reserve of the infernal power I was granted as part of the deal. I cannot wait to show those old curmudgeons at the Librarium Arcana the amazing contraptions and constructs which I have assembled, or the collection of rarities that I have amassed. Ha ha! The tower will be complete within a few days, but my joy has withered away. Elena died of a fever last night, and Alana this morning. The world is only grey today. I cannot write anything else. After some late nights of research in the Librarium Arcana, I have come upon the most unsettling discovery. The sword which I purchased is not the Sword of Blue Flame. It is a replica. The actual sword was destroyed by Cernobog himself, who used its sapphire to create his helm. The reality of my situation stares me grimly in the face. I have stumbled into a paradox. It is impossible to possess both the helm of Cernobog and the Sword of Blue Flame, for even if the sword was to be somehow reforged, both the items share the same unique sapphire. I do not know what I am to do. I have a meeting with Malekithis in 1 week. Things do not bode well. I spoke with Malekithis, and I can sense he knows that he has me in his grasp. As far as he is concerned, I am as good as his. Why did I let this happen? This is not the way that things were supposed to turn out. My family speaks of moving away to Bazagon. My contemporaries regard me as an eccentric recluse. I wonder if even my apprentice holds me in any amount of esteem. Lucia is my last joy. Things look hopeless right now. Malekithis' emissary now dwells within my castle. This is the final straw that has caused my family and servants to flee. I do not blame them. I am now a prisoner in my own home. I must be careful what I do, and even what I write. That little imp's eyes and ears could be anywhere. I have not given up, though. I am going to give my all. My next and final meeting with Malekithis is in 13 days. I have been researching with great fervor anything I can regarding this character Cernobog and the items I was tasked to recover. I still have a few outside contacts, and I still have Lucia. Poor Lucia. I did not want to drag her into this. My plan is taking shape. I have learned much of Cernobog in the past week. He was a tiefling, and a rather nasty one at that. During his lifetime, he was allied with Malekithis the Three-Horned, who is a vile and manipulative devil, attempting to ascend in rank to Pit Fiend. As bad as they come, to be sure. Cernobog's lifelong enmity was the Circle of Light, an order of followers of Illis the Lantern. In fact, he died on the battlefield, struck down by one of their champions. This holy knight wielded a legendary sword known as Lumini Belor. This sword is no mere blade. The weapon's name means Warrior of Light. It is an entity itself, an angel of some sort that came into this world for a time as an answer to the Holy Knight's prayers. I have the champion who slew Cernobog. Well, in a way I do. I used the last of the infernal power to bind the soul of the champion into a suit of armor. Who would ever have imagined such a thing? Now, if I did everything correctly, he will be calling Lumini Belor back into the world. Still, I have not figured out how to piece this all together. It is quite possible that if the legendary sword was brought into Malekithis' presence, it would activate merely by force of its own will. The trouble is getting Malekithis to accept the sword. Being a powerful devil, and such an adversary of the Circle of Light, an artifact such as this would be a blasphemy of the worst kind. The imp suspects something. If Malekithis catches wind that I am failing to uphold my end of the bargain, let alone my scheme, this entire plan is ruined. Lumini Belor has not arrived yet, and I am not sure why. The spirit of the champion possessing the armor often goes dormant. Is he in prayer? In a meditative trance? Did he manage to return to the celestial realm from which I called him? I am going to try to convince Malekithis to give me more time. I know, however, that he may not. If he takes me tonight, all may be for naught. I have locked away everything as to keep out those damned devils that patrol my own home. I have also set up a number of magical wards and changed the password to the tower. I am going to perform the portal ritual with the tallest candles I have. Lastly, I am releasing Lucia. I am sending her out to Casavecchia with a letter. Unfortunately, each move I make risks being exposed by that damnable imp, so I have to use esoteric wordings. I am hoping against all hope. You sit there for a moment, stunned by what you have discovered. Again, you read over the words, hastily written in Zdravno's journal. Everything is coming together for you now, and it all runs deeper than you had previously imagined. You pick up the greatsword with the sapphire in the hilt, leaning against the wall. Drawing the weapon, you give it a swing. Though you are no warrior, when you make your crude slash, pale blue flames ripple across the blade. It is a fantastic sword, yes, but as Zdravno noted, it is not so great as the actual relic blade of legend. You go back to the writing desk to see if there is anything else of import among the various papers and parchments. The main thing you notice are star charts with Zdravno's own notes scribbled on them. Though it is no longer nighttime and the sky is overcast with clouds, you wonder if you can deduce what it is that Zadrovno had been studying with the astronomy scope. You study a few of the star charts, then have a close look at the exact positioning of the scope. you determine that it is set to view the constellation known as the Trickster, also called the Jester by some. The Trickster. Zdravno had a plan. He had called a spirit of a centuries-dead holy champion and bound him to a suit of armor somewhere. This champion supposedly was to summon in his legendary sword, Lumini Belor, which is actually some kind of great angelic spirit in the form of a sentient artifact. Zadrovno was trying to somehow get Malekithis to accept Lumini Belor through the hellish portal, where the celestial artifact would then cause Malekithis to lose the favor of his court, or perhaps the weapon would even do battle with the fiend. You leave things as they are in the observatory tower, for now. You smack against the wall of force, which has since reformed, though the same password opens it again. Now, to see about this gem key and the star door. Once back in the entry chamber, you again approach the star door. You take out the key, fitted with the pale aquamarine at its top. It slides right into the keyhole at the center of the star engraved on the face of the door. It does not turn. In fact, in your earlier inspections, you noted that this lock is more a matter of magic than it is a physical device. You step back, point your wand, and cast a ray of frost onto the gem of the key. A subtle flash ripples across the door, and there is a soft sound of it unsealing. You open the heavy stone panel to find a small yet wondrous chamber beyond. This vault is not large at all, really only enough space for a few people to fit comfortably inside. Exquisite tapestries hang from the walls. 2 ever-burning sconces glow with heatless flames, and a suit of glorious plate armor stands atop a central pedestal. Metallic angel wings flare from the sides of the helmet, giving it the look of some mighty paladin. Gripped with both gauntlets is an incredible greatsword made out of polished platinum with gold filigree inlays and celestial runes upon its blade. Light gleams off the sword like a mirror. Never before have you beheld such a majestic weapon. Merely looking upon it fills you with an intense, righteous fervor. Without a thought, you reach for the sword. With lightning reflexes, the suit of armor grabs your hand. Its grip is like a vice. As you gasp in pain, Lucia begins yowling and crying at the suit of armor. It turns its slitted visor toward the protesting cat, studies her for a second, then nods and releases its crushing grip. Are you the champion of the Circle of Light? The armor nods. And this is Lumini Belor. Again, the armor nods in confirmation. I seek to rescue Zadrovno from the hellish prison Malekithis has trapped him in. Surely this divine weapon will be of great aid in this quest. The suit of gleaming plates gives no reaction. You are probably not pleased that Zadrovno called your spirit back into the world, using infernal magic to do so, no less. That was not the most forthright tactic, but this is a desperate situation. My master is not an evil man. He does not deserve to be imprisoned in hell, or subjected to whatever torments are in store for him there. Malekithis is the evil one, and it is he who deserves justice be meted out upon him. On behalf of the High Wizard, and of my own honor, whatever that's worth to you, I vow that I will use your sword only to fight against this devil, and I will return the sword to you as soon as possible. The armor studies you now. It pierces into your very soul with its eyeless gaze. It goes down on one knee and offers the sword to you with both hands. You utter your heartfelt thanks. You reach out and take the celestial blade. A tremendous sensation surges through your body. The runes on the weapon glow momentarily, filling the small chamber with golden blue-white radiance. You look upon the sword, hardly able to believe that you are holding such a wonder. The artifact fills you with chivalrous resolve. With weapon in hand, you are charged with the conviction to see your quest through to the end. I will do my utmost to return soon. Please, pray for me, O holy champion. Your next destination is the Waterfall Cave, and with galvanized steps, you practically fly there. The waters of the underground lake lap at the stony shore, a few short strides away from your own feet. You take the mage's kaleidoscope in hand and call out to the lake monster. Again and again you shout, even going so far as to chuck a rock into the water. You succeed in grabbing its attention, and the long-necked monstrosity lifts up from the lake. Its hungry eyes bulge at you, and its mouth opens to reveal its long, pointed fangs. Hesitating not a second, you command the hypnotic pattern from the kaleidoscope. Wavering, shifting colors and lights engulf the slinker for a moment. When the enchanting patterns dissipate, the creature is left dazzled, subdued. It relaxes into the water, content to watch you lazily with its head just above the surface. You then produce the folding boat, the little box with runes that your master had left for you. You speak the first command word at the water's edge. The box expands and unfolds before your very eyes, becoming a sturdy rowboat. You step inside, and Lucia hops in right behind you. You paddle your way across the little lake, keeping an eye on the slinker the whole time. Its eyelids droop, lulled and dazed. You reach the location where the secret door had been indicated. Within less than a minute of looking over the cave wall, you find the stony knob that pushes inward like a button. A section of the wall moves aside, revealing a small subchamber of the cave. You step out of the rowboat onto the hard ground. The lighting in here is very dim, but you make out the shape of a sturdy chest with an iron cat's face on it. You do not know how long the slinker will remain subdued, so you don't waste time performing your detect magic ritual. You do inspect the chest as best you can in this poor illumination. It's too hard to tell. You stand back as much as you can and try to open it with your mage hand. It is sealed shut. Lucia, that looks like your face on it. Do you think that you can open it? Lucia goes up to the heavy treasure chest and nuzzles it. The thing pops right open. Inside are 2 incomplete spell scrolls, Disguise Object and Arcanus Magic Aura. The spells themselves are primed, but the scroll needs sufficient magical components to infuse them with arcane energy. You estimate it would take 25 gold pieces worth of components to empower the Disguise Object, and 250 gold pieces worth for Arcanus Magic Aura. The spells themselves are peculiar ones. Disguise Object is an illusion spell, related to the spell Disguise Self. It causes an object to take on a different appearance for a time, a glamour. The object cannot appear much larger or smaller, and it must retain a relatively similar shape, but its visual details can be altered to the caster's choosing. Arcanus Magic Aura is an uncommon sort of spell, also from the School of Illusion. It causes divinations to get false reads when attempting to discern the magical properties of an object. the caster can cause a magic object to appear as non-magical, or vice versa. Or the object can read as possessing a different kind of magic than it actually does, or even a different sort of alignment. What to do with all of this?